All right, the final piece of the exhaust puzzle is here, SC Project muffler. So we'll pop that on today. Now, there are plenty of different options muffler-wise for these bikes. Why did I go for the SC Project one? Well, I had three sort of in my mind that I was going to go with. Considering I've got an Arrow DCAT on this bike, there's of course the Arrow muffler, the HP Course, SC Project, and the Akrapovic, which is just starting to come out onto the market. Haven't really seen it too much in Australia just yet. So they're the main options that people are going for with this, and then there's some eBay specials and that sort of thing. I initially was going to go with the Arrow, considering it's got an Arrow DCAT, and then they went and changed their logo and put this big A sticker on the side and put a droopy exhaust tip, so it looks like Gonzo from the Muppets. That didn't really excite me too much. I'm glad that there's other options. Second option I was going to go for was the HP Course. I like how it's built, I like the look of it. I just don't like the people that build it. The issue I have there is I asked them a very simple question in that, can the rear baffle be removed from the muffler? Because their website contradicted two things. It said that it could, but it also said that there was a different part number for a different competition style muffler. Whether it was referring to the same muffler or not, I didn't know. So I emailed them and they just refused to give me that answer. They just said everything was built to Euro 5 specifications and left it at that. And I went back, you didn't answer my question. Can the baffle be removed or not? Or do I need to order a separate part number to get one that has a removable baffle? Same response back. All our mufflers are built to Euro 5 specifications, blah, blah, blah. This went back and forth multiple times. In the end, I just got an email from them to say, F off, go buy something else. So I did. And here is the SC Project muffler. Now, there's also a little bit of confusion about this muffler on their website. The baffle can be removed, but it's pop riveted in. So if you want to put it back in, you've got to work out a little bolt system. Not a problem. They were more than happy to let me know of that. Secondly, if you buy the SC Project's DCAT pipe for this bike, you can only run the SC Project's muffler. And I'll go into that in a minute, but it's got to do with the size change before it gets to the muffler. You'll see that when I go change this muffler on, we'll talk a bit more about that. Now, the other thing I want to do when I'm changing this over is the weight difference between the two, and also pretty much not go into massive specifics about this, but the area difference at the exhaust tip. So we've got some calipers, we're going to measure the difference between the exhaust tip. I've noticed with this one, even with the DCAT, there's a lot of pressure coming out of the exhaust tips. I just wanted a more free-flowing exhaust. With the DCAT on this bike and the stock muffler, I don't notice a difference in the sound at cruising speed. A little bit more of a grumble when you idle, start from cold, that sort of thing, and a little few pops and bangs, that sort of thing. But once it's up and the bike's warm, I didn't notice a difference in the sound. This, however, I'm guessing there will be a difference because it's more of a straight through muffler, whereas there's a lot more baffles in this one here. First of all, let's measure the area of the stock exhaust tip. So now I have to do the part that I really don't want to do, which is mathematics. All right, so we'll do the internals. And we're looking at 22 millimeters. Of course, we have to times this by 2, given that we've got 2 tips. All right, so 22 millimeters. Let's do some mathematics. So we've got area equals 11 pi squared. Let's do some quick mathematics and pop it up on the screen. Okay, just in case you wanted to check my working out. So at the end of it, we've got 379.94 millimeters of surface area, essentially out of one of the ports. So we have to times that by 2. So we've got 759.88 millimeters of surface area out of these exhaust tips. Of course, you know, you've got to take into flow rate, volume, and that sort of thing. We're not working that out today. All we're doing is the area at the exhaust tips and the weight, or pretty much the weight saving of the bike. Okay, so let's take this off. I'll show you the tools that you need. This is one of the most simple things to do on this bike. Okay, to take this muffler off, 6mm Allen key, 10 mil spanner, 12 mil spanner. 10 mil spanner is for the bottom clamp. So take that off. I've already taken the plastic off here, so that's a couple of screws. And then 12 mil at the back. There we go. One muffler off. We'll need to keep this guard, so I think it's a 4 mil Allen key to take that off there. Okay, so I just did the maths on the actual tip that goes into the muffler from both cylinders, being the decat pipe, and we're looking at 38 millimeters. So once the area is worked out for that, we'll take the radius down to 19 mil. The area works out to be 1,133.54 millimeters. Now that's more air going in than what's coming out. So that's a difference of 373.66 millimeters. That's why we have that much pressure coming out of those two exhaust tips, which I'm trying to even out a little bit. Hopefully, the SC Projects muffler will reduce that gap a little bit. Okay, I've just zeroed the scales. Just put a rag on it because they're the kitchen scales and I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, so the stock muffler, according to this, is 3,286 grams. So 3.28 kilos. Alrighty, so the muffler just by itself, 1,646 grams, so 1.6 kilos. But there's a couple of extra things that go with this muffler. So let's move this over. So this little extension pipe is essentially what you need if you don't have the SC Projects decat, because we're gone from original size to the size that fits in the muffler. It comes with this muffler anyway, so it's not a separate part. But then of course we've got all the fittings that go with this, so I'll just drape them over. Plastic bags don't weigh much, so I'm not worried about that adding extra. That just slipped off. And get it all sitted, get it all fitted properly. 44 grams, so 2 kilos, 44 grams. That is a lot lighter. Okay, so if you haven't seen the size difference of the mufflers, stock muffler, SC Projects muffler. Now, before we get too carried away in fitting this, I'll show you what I mean on here. So here's the rivet, and there's the rear baffle. So all I'm going to do is drill out this rivet so we can take that baffle out. If we have a look all the way down the muffler, get a bit of light down there, you can see the baffle. So all we're doing is taking that pop rivet out so we can take this baffle out and put it in when needed. Makes it more of an open muffler style. Before we get too excited drilling that rivet out, let's measure the area of this exhaust tip with the baffle in. Looking at 32 millimeters. All right, so I'll pop up on the screen now what the area is of this one before we drill it out and measure the area without the baffle. Okie doke, the baffle is removed. Then we have pretty much a straight through pipe. So let's do the measurements on this now. Okay, we have 61. 61? Yep, 61 diameter. So we'll take the radius of that and work out how much air we've got coming out of this surface area here. Okay, so just did the basics on this side. So 61 mil diameter, 30.5 mil radius, times all that together, we get 2,920.985 millimeters. And that's a lot, considering the stock was 758. The intake is 1133. So essentially now we have a free flowing exhaust with no restriction. So if this is too much, I can always put the baffle back in. Now that I've drilled out that hole, I can put a proper grub screw or a bolt back in there. But we'll see how it goes just with this first, I think. Why not try it? Okay, I'll worry about the plastics later, but just give it a good clean. Isopropyl alcohol. Get rid of all greasy fingerprints. They're all going to burn off anyway, but better to do it now before it gets some heat into it. All right, start this thing up. Alrighty, let's start it up and find out. So, decat and the baffles have been taken out. So that's much better. So there's still one thing missing though. I just don't like having different branded parts for the same thing, so let's fix that.